My name is Patty Knapp. I work with Finger Lakes Donor Recovery Network, and I have the very distinct honor, and when I say honor, I mean honor, and after you hear the speaker, you'll understand what I'm saying. I have the honor of introducing our last speaker of the day. He is the proud parent of a young donor, and he wants the world to know the positive impact that organ donation can make in your lives. Mr. Scott Gibbs.
Thank you, Patty. You've given me nowhere to go but down. Holy moly. Well, thank you very much. I'm here with my wife and my mother and a couple very, very dear friends, and hopefully they'll support me enough to do a good job today like Patty expects. So why are we here today? My family, why is our family here today? Is that still okay, Scott? Well, unfortunately, my son, Marcus, our oldest, passed away from a heroin overdose, actually a fentanyl and morphine overdose in November of 2016. So we have, as part of that process, become parents of an organ donor. And it's been a very, very tough process, but I can tell you the people in this room have been instrumental in making the process bearable. When Marcus was 18, he went to renew his driver's license, and at that time came home from that process and said to his mother, "Mom, is it good to be an organ donor?" And she said, "Well, it's good if you think it's good." And he said, "Well, I think it's good," and I did it. And at the time, I didn't realize that Marcus had become an organ donor. So it wasn't until much later in the process that I found that out. And we're here today to thank you. For what was a very difficult process. The people in this room, when we went through it, were very, very impactful for us. Was there anybody here directly involved in Marcus's donation process and recovery process, either from the administrator side, counselor side? Lisa? Anybody else? Yep, oh, thank you. Good to see you. I can tell you it's, when we were going through it, we talked about it during the process. We were in the hospital from Wednesday to Saturday, and when we were going through it, we talked about how we were going to come back and make sure we brought flowers and candy and certificates to all the people that cared for us and helped us through the process. And we were talking about it not too long ago, and I said, "Geez, do we ever do that?" And it occurred to me that maybe we did, maybe we didn't, I don't know. And when you're going through it, you don't realize that you're in shock until later. And from our perspective, we've moved on through the grieving process, but I can only imagine for you guys how it must be impactful as well. Here you are, you guys are giving a lot of your energy, a lot of your time, a lot of your emotional strength to families on both sides of that process, and then it's over. And I'm wondering if you guys really get the feedback you need, the positive affirmation that you need on a daily basis. And my suspicion is not. And it's not because people don't care. It's because people are in their own grieving process. So I'm here to tell you today, now that I'm 2 years separated from the process, now that Sue is 2 years separated from the process, and we have space, thank you. Thank you for what you do. It's not easy. We have... We'll talk a little bit about it later, but we've met Marcus's heart recipient. It's been a very, very impactful relationship for us, and hopefully we'll talk about that in a little more detail in a little bit. Our staff was excellent, caring, empathetic, compassionate, and I want to thank all of you for being those type of people, so thank you. A little bit about Marcus. Oh boy. He was a special kid, and I hope it's okay if that I share some details. Background will make sense to you in a little bit. He was a beloved son of my wife and I, and I'll never forget. Before we had Marcus, I remember people saying, "Would you like to hold our baby?" I said, "I'm not holding that ugly little kid." Everybody's saying, "Oh, the baby's so cute, baby's so cute." I never saw it. I never saw the baby being cute. I always thought the kids were little ugly creatures. But I'll tell you what, when Marcus was born, oh my gosh, what a beautiful, finally, A beautiful baby. Finally, a beautiful baby. And it was true. He was God's gift to babies. And then, after Marcus was 2 or 3 years old, I went back and looked at those baby pictures. He was just as ugly as every little other baby. So it's amazing what the chemicals will do, not just to the mother, but to the father as well. I enjoyed that. He was the older brother to Aaron and Casey, and they were peas in a pod. And right till the end, they had a wonderful, wonderful relationship. And he was also the first grandson on either side. So for 5.5 years until we had our second son, he got all the grandparent attention. And from his grandfather, as he grew into a man, his grandfather set a great work ethic example, and they split wood together, they cut wood together, they stacked wood together. His grandmother, who's back here today, I generally don't admit it in public that she's my mother, but yeah, see the crazy one waving her hand, yes. So he liked clowning around with her, and when I say clowning around, I literally mean clowning around. She got trained as a professional clown, Ladybug the clown, in her 50s, by the way. What a great career choice. And he really enjoyed her company in that way. And my wife's father, her Opa, he loved spending time with him. Her father went through World War II and has lots and lots of stories, and Marcus just really, really enjoyed hearing those stories. And Sue's mother is a saint, literally a living saint. And to watch Marcus and Sue's mother interact is really something special. So beloved by many in his family, and just a wonderful, wonderful boy. And in the simplest terms, he was a fun-loving, adventure-seeking, quirky, comic goofball that sought to be noticed and significant. And the title of today's conference, I believe, is Making a Difference. Marcus intuitively spent a lot of time trying to make a difference. What's interesting, I was reading a book one time, it's called Life's Golden Ticket, and it was by Brendan Burchard. If you ever get a chance to read it, it's a wonderful read. As you guys look at what your purpose is, you guys are all pretty aligned with purpose, I think, but he was on the verge of death after a car accident, and he found himself asking in those moments where he thought he was going to die, did I live, did I love, and did I matter? And I want to walk through what I think Marcus's answers to those questions would be in the next few slides. So, did I live? I could take a look at these pictures and take a guess what Marcus would have said if he was here. Anybody have a guess? Yeah. Marcus, well, you said yes, right? That's not exactly what he would say. If we said, Marcus, did you live? He'd say, did I live? Hell yeah, I lived, yeah. That's what Marcus would say. Marcus was a thrill seeker. He had a little bit of a chip on his shoulder, always wanted to show somebody that he could do something that they didn't think he was going to do. Now, there's a lot of psychological reasons for that, and we could talk for hours about it. But at the end of the day, he wanted to be noticed. He wanted to be significant. He wanted to make a difference in people's lives. Skydiving on the upper right, jumping off the tube when he shouldn't jump off the tube. Here, he was a junior in high school. He spent the summer between his junior and senior year in high school on a 10-day canoe trip in the Adirondacks with 4 other buddies. You like his tattoo. I know his parents, you guys love that tattoo. If you want the artist's name, I'm sure we can get it for you. But always, in fact, Gina's here as a dear family friend. She got to witness firsthand some of Marcus's thrill-seeking, and when they were on a hike down at Keuka Lake, he decided to climb a 40-foot waterfall, Gina? At least, and then when he was told not to come down the way he came down, he decided that the parents were wrong and he would go down that way anyway, and he fell twice and fell probably half the way down the waterfall in total feet. So always pushing the limits, always looking for ways to have fun, improve his own significance, or in this case, make a difference. So, next question. So did he live? Yeah, I think he lived. Did he love? I think the answer, again, will be evident by some of these pictures. Again, his brothers, a lot of siblings, you'd think 3 boys, there's a lot of fighting. There wasn't. If it was fighting, it was real short, and it was kind of quick and easy and not that big a deal, and never physical. They, to the day Marcus passed, were very, very close. And that's his Oma up in the top here. That's my mother. And to watch Marcus and his Oma interact was truly special, the way they looked at each other. But by far, this picture is the most special picture we have. The relationship between Marcus and his mother was unlike and continues to be unlike anything I've seen between a mother and her son. When I look at that, I see unconditional love. They both have that little mischievous look. I don't know what they're saying to each other, but there's something there that speaks a lot louder than words. Marcus also fell in love in high school with Brittany in the lower right-hand corner. Wonderful person, still a big part of our lives, even though they weren't together when Marcus passed. But a very, very special person. And we'll be forever grateful for Marcus's time with us. Marcus, if we talk about love, was a hugger, big hugger. And, when you're 10, 12, 14 years old, you expect the hugs. But when you start getting 16, 17, 18, 20, 21, you almost expect the hugs to go away. They never went away. They're always there. In fact, the 2 days before Marcus passed, I can still remember hugging him. I had to go on a trip hugging him goodbye, and his scruffy, bearded neck on my neck. And I go there quite a bit to remember Marcus. In fact, I was with his younger brother, Aaron, down in North Carolina this week for a parents' weekend, and when I hugged Aaron goodbye, Aaron put his head on my neck in the same place. And it was very special. And Aaron probably doesn't know that at the time it made me think of Marcus, but it was a wonderful moment for us, at least for me. So did he love? Yeah, I think he loved. And it was easy because he loved us back. So did he love? Did he live? Did he love? Did he matter? I think the answer to the first two are clear. The third one, as a 21-year-old kid, I think you have to say, geez, did he matter? How does a 21-year-old kid, if he was in that moment before his death, how would he answer that question? And I've struggled with that, and so I did a little bit of research, and I looked at some of the things he wrote. He and I went to a Tony Robbins, I don't know if anybody knows who Tony Robbins is, but we went to an Unleash the Power Within conference in San Jose the weekend before he passed away together. So we went on a Thursday, Wednesday night, came home Monday night, and then Wednesday he passed away. These are quotes out of some of the handbooks and worksheets that we did together. Why are you here? I want to be proud of who I am. I want to fall in love again. What do you love? A woman's touch, weed. Traveling, jumping from high places, meditation. What are you passionate about? Building a reputation. Providing for someone, running, and short girls. Brittany was short. What do you really want? A wife who supports my dreams. Houses in different parts of the world, investment income. What are 2 decisions you made in the past that have positively shaped your life? He decided to sit with Brittany in school. It's a funny story. His decision to go to rehab. Marcus went to rehab on his own. Obviously we encouraged it, but at the end of the day it was a volunteer decision on his part, and he came back a much stronger, more mature man from that time in rehab. What are 2 decisions you committed to making now? To be happy with myself and all the good I've done. Never pick up another narcotic so I can find love and help her the way I've helped myself. Feel the embrace of unconditional love again. So here's a kid. He had the vision of what he wanted. He had the vision of how he was going to be significant. But did he know? Did he know? Did he die knowing that he was going to be as significant as he was? My my guess is maybe. My guess is maybe. He, his decision to be a donor mattered. He was 18 years old when he made that decision. That's a very selfless decision for an 18-year-old person. His decision, when it was made, I had no idea. In fact, what had happened is when they had pronounced Marcus brain dead, they'd come to Sue and I and said, we have some papers to sign for you. And I said, okay, well, I need some time with my wife to discuss this. And well, they said, excuse me, but this is really just an acknowledgement form. There's no discussion. He was 18, he was of age when he made the decision, so this is a courtesy. Something to that effect. And that's when I found out that Marcus was a donor. Sue knew as a factor of the time when he came home after his renewal, but I didn't know. So that was a very impactful moment for me, because here I am, one of the lowest, by far the most sad point in my life that I'll probably ever have, and I find out that he made such a selfless decision. It was quite wonderful. So we posted information about Marcus being an organ donor on Facebook, and the response we got was hugely significant. This is just a small portion of the people that reached out to us and either said, look, we're organ donors too, or you've inspired us to be organ donors. You start thinking about the number of people there that one person impacted and maybe helped make a decision. And you guys are talking about the different things you can do at your hospitals. I'm going to talk on the next slide about something I think you can do that wasn't talked about but was alluded to and hinted at by a couple of you. But this is a huge number of people. And the reason it's a huge number of people is because of math. Who knows what this movie was? What's the name of this movie? What is it? Pay It Forward. So what's the premise? Yeah, fundamentally, you help three people, right? The kid's idea. So he was tasked to go bring an idea that would change the world, and he came back with this idea. And the kids ridiculed him, kids teased him, and the teachers thought, "Holy shit, that's an idea that could change the world," and it did. If you remember the movie, this kid helped three people, and then those three people helped three people, and I think he was on the East Coast, and it made it out to the West Coast somehow. And then the news people came and they reported on it. And this is called a geometric progression. So Marcus donations helped 5 people. All right, so heart, lungs, kidneys help 5 people. So not just 3 people. These numbers get huge very, very quickly in a geometric progression. So I concluded that whether Marcus knew it or not, he fulfilled his ultimate significance with the selfless act as an 18-year-old to register as an organ donor. Now I hope if he had that moment before he passed that he recognized that. And if he didn't, and if he's listening now, I hope he recognizes it now. As importantly, I hope you guys recognize it. Because this doesn't happen without you. This doesn't happen without you guys fulfilling your purpose. Right? We talk about the donor, we talk about the recipient, but there's that facilitation that all you guys are part of that is every bit as important. We can't do it without the people in this room. So as you go through your life and you say, did I live? Did I love? Did I matter? Know that your work matters. Know that your work matters, and it matters in a very, very significant and big way. I'm going to share something. As I was listening to you guys talking about what you could take back to your hospital, and I knew I was going to talk to this slide, I highly recommend that you connect with me on Facebook. And one of the reasons is I will post after tonight, I'll post this video, and I'll post another video I did during Organ Donation Week that is very specific to Marcus and our family. Does anybody here know what the theory of weak ties is? Anybody? So the theory of weak ties is that, so for example, me, my wife, we're a strong tie. Me, Gina, we're a strong tie. Me, Mom, we're a strong tie. Those are people in our network, our direct network. So fundamentally, we know each other. We're in the same group of people, right? When you get out to, so that would be this. That would be this row. That's our strong tie, right? The theory of weak ties is that this is the more important connection to really spread your message. Does that make sense? These people know your message. They're your best friends. These are your family members. These people might not. So what Facebook affords us and social media platforms afford us is into the weak ties, into the secondary networks, the tertiary networks. So after this, connect with me on Facebook. Why? Not because I'm going to do anything super spectacular, but if I do something even somewhat reasonable that you could pass on into your network, you're going to help me and I'm going to help you. Right? If you're really, truly committed to spreading your purpose, and I know the type of DNA that's in this room. My mother's a nurse. You guys are giving people. If you're really committed to that, think about the theory of weak ties. My connection to you will put us into each other's networks. Right? It's a huge, huge benefit, and it might be the most impactful opportunity you have to spread the word. That was something I didn't anticipate. Here's another quick personal story. So I asked my mother, I said, Mom, what kind of experience did our family have besides Marcus and the organ donation space? And she said, well, actually, your dad's cousin, Brenda, was a living donor back in the 1980s, and she donated a kidney to her sister. And I said, well, so what? And she said, well, I'll tell you, so what, Scott? Very, very rudely to me, I might add. I didn't like that, Mom. She said, these are the things Sandy Plain was able to do during the years after a kidney transplant from Brenda. Celebrate her husband's 50th birthday, attend her son's wedding, take her family to Disney World, see her granddaughter start school, attend many school activities, concerts, dance recitals, go to Neil Diamond concerts, visit family in California, and enjoy living on Canisius Lake. My cousin, Carrie Curtis, I remember this very well, unfortunately, she died giving birth to one of her children. And a few years prior to that, her husband, Rick, had been in a very severe motorcycle accident. And during that time, they both discussed that if one of them were to pass unexpectedly and early, that they would both want to be organ donors and help other people out. And unfortunately, Carrie fulfilled that promise. Due to complications after childbirth, her organs were donated, and there were 3 recipients. When the family was approached and asked to consider donation, her husband recalled a discussion he and Carrie had a few years prior after the motorcycle accident. At that time, they agreed that if they could help another family in this way, should tragedy strike, they would. Rick spoke of Carrie's wonderful spirit, and he believes her spirit lives on in others. His memory of the information he received about the recipients is that they were very appreciative of the gift of life and doing well. So do you matter? Yes, you matter. So who's this guy? Lisa, who's this guy? No. Stay looking here. Who is it?
Paul Sorrentino.
Why is he significant to Marcus?
I didn't know until just now why he was significant to Marcus, but he was a longtime patient of myself and Dr. Chen with very bad heart disease. We took care of him for a long time.
So Sue and I are very, very fortunate to have met Paul. We met him April this year. We met him for breakfast. He's a Hamburg resident outside of Buffalo. He and his wife Joyce met us for breakfast. And it was wonderful getting to know him. We listened to his heart. We heard the story. Here's the other thing. We didn't appreciate some of the trouble Paul had with the heart. It wasn't easy. He had 2 or 3 days where it wasn't clear if he was going to make it. And his wife Joyce tells a story. The doctor came out and said, "Look, we don't know. We don't know if he's going to." She said, "What do you know? What do you mean you don't know?" So we don't know. And Paul reflects back on that time, and Paul said he was having weird dreams and psychedelic dreams, and I said, well, I said, Paul, were you naked on top of a roof? If you weren't naked on top of the roof, it's not Marcus's fault. Because when Marcus did psychedelics, that's what Marcus did. So that was interesting. We had a more, we just thought it would be a piece of cake. Marcus passed. Paul's a living recipient, and boy, things are going to be great. Not the case. It was a very difficult road for both he and his wife. We've created a friendship with them, and we're very, very grateful. In fact, now I've also friended his daughter Danielle on Facebook. Olivia and Elliot are the grandchildren. I've also now friended other people in his family, Renee and Susan. I communicate with directly on occasion when they see something that I've posted. So again, theory of weak ties. We're communicating on things way outside of the organ donation process at this point because we feel we're quality people. So very interesting the way this has played out. So I got to tell you, are you guys making a difference? Of course. Am I making a difference? I think that, of course, but I can tell you the duality of being up here today is significant. And when I mean duality, I mean I love the fact that I'm up here being able to address you people and making sure that you leave here knowing the name Marcus Gibbs, because I know, he wanted to have significance, and I don't, candidly, I don't know how you can be more significant than be an organ donor unless you're a living donor. So I love the fact that I'm honoring Marcus in that way, but I literally hate the fact that I'm up here in front of you. I hate it. And I love it. I hate it. I don't know how else to explain it, other than it's a very, very weird place to sit, a very, very weird place to live. And the more I think about the whole process, the more I think it's important that you guys, your work and the work you do has given us a very positive anchor with our son. To know that he gave life to another set of individuals, and more specifically Paul Sorrentino, has been very, very impactful. And I'd actually like Sue, could you bring your guest up here with you, please, real quick? So I have to imagine that you guys have good days and bad days, and that that on occasion, you're wondering, did you live, did you love, did you matter? So on those days, come on up here. On those days, I'd like you guys to remember this. Okay? So when you're sad, when you're wondering if it's working out, whether your work matters, it matters. Okay? So thank you for all you're doing. Thank you for helping Paul. Thank you for helping Marcus. Thank you for helping the Gibbs family in general.